Today on the Frozen Fly, we'll be tying ourselves a minnow fry. Productive pattern for me. So first we'll start off with a Daiichi 220 and a size 6 and a white UTC thread, 140 denier. So I am tying in at about the quarter mark. I apologize for any if you guys hear running water in the background. We're having some storms right now, and the well sub pump is right here next to me. So what I first grab is some white craft fur, and I pull off about depending on the size, for this size, I'm probably going to pull off a pencil-sized piece of craft fur, pencil-sized piece of craft fur, or cut off, not pull. Now notice we haven't gone very far back on the hook shank. That is because there isn't really much to this pattern before we wrap it up. It's quite a nice little pattern, doesn't take very much. Very few materials in it. I think there's only 2 materials plus eyes. So I've got myself about a pencil. It looks pretty big on the camera just because I'm using a magnifying lens so you guys can see real well. What I do is I do kind of a loose thread wrap. I do probably 3 of them. And what I do is I take it and I push around on the craft first so it goes all the way around the hook. And then I pull tight. And you notice that it wants to roll. Go ahead and let it roll. And what that does is it evenly distributes the craft fur around the hook. And you'll notice that it wants to get bunched up. You can either take a bodkin or a brush or anything. You can either do it now. I like doing it now just so I can tell length and how dense the body is and whatnot. So then I take this, the buttons, I push them up, take a pair of scissors, and cut them short. Kind of making a little bit of a taper with the buttons of this craft fur. So what I do is I just run some threads up through the waist ends here. Just that all this is nice and secured down. Again, I'm using my bodkin, just sticking it through and pulling it back to help pull some of these pieces of craft fur hair back. So we got everything laying straight like this. So I start making my tapered head here. Now if you find that your head is a little far back, sometimes what you can do is take your thumb, put it on the head, and then push up. And then what will happen is I'll slide forward a little bit. So I'm just adding a bunch of thread wraps to make this kind of a smooth head. Get it at least as close as you kind of can here. And trimming off some longer pieces of the craft fur. And now what I do is I take 3 pieces of Flashabou. And what I'm doing is I'm measuring to where it is, probably about the 3/4 mark on the fly. So again, at about the 3/4 mark on the side. From this off, so it's a little bit shorter. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep this on the side, so it almost makes more of a lateral line. And then I do the same on my side. Grab 3 pieces of Flashabou. This is orange, if you can't tell. You can use any color of Flashabou you want, obviously. Orange for me has just been working well. I've done them in pink and red and all sorts of different colors. They all seem to work fine. I haven't had a color scheme yet that hasn't worked very well. So again, I do the same. Tie it in. Trim it. Now you'll notice I'm really building up a great big thread head. And that's just so that I have a good taper for the body. So I've just built this up. You can actually sometimes see a little bit of the Flashabou coming through on the white UTC. That's alright. We'll be putting eyes on. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and whip finish. Whip finish doesn't have to be anything crazy. You could do a half hitch finish, whatever finish you want. So now I am getting a set of eyes. I believe these are probably a 1 to 2 millimeter eye. I got 3 different colors. I'm just going to stick with yellow. So I pull off 2 eyes. I get my high-tack swags from Loon, and I get a little bit of this on my bobbin or bodkin. And put just a little bit of it on the eye so it sticks. Get my other eye here, just of course stuck. It's always easier to put the eye on your side, the side that's facing towards the tire. So now just stick this on. About so. I try to make it right kind of about even with the center. Then I take some Solar Res Thin. I loosen up my vise. I really get a good amount on. I always make sure I touch at least a little bit to the top, to the face of the eye, so that it helps it go over top of the eye, helps the rest of the glue kind of help cover it. Into my bodkin. Basically all I'm trying to do is spread the glue out so that the glue is covering everything, and then the glue will just naturally smooth itself out once it's got a good coating on everything. Sometimes you gotta use your bodkin and scrape a little bit off, move it elsewhere. So once you get it kind of smoothed out here, I always like to really quite aggressively roll the fly so that it helps smooth out some of that glue. Clean off my bodkin. Grab my UV flashlight. Cure the head. And just like that, you have yourself a nice little minnow fry. Hope you guys enjoyed. If I don't see you guys out in the woods or on the water, hopefully I'll see you guys next time on the Frozen Fly. Have a good one.